In the name of Allah, the most gracious, the most merciful, respected viewers. Peace be upon you. According to various scholars, the birth of the Holy Prophet Muhammad is reported to have occurred on the 8th, 9th, 12th, or 17th of Rabi al-Awwal. However, the majority of scholars agree upon the 12th of Rabi al-Awwal. According to the current calendar, this date falls between April 20th and 22nd, 571 AD. At that time, lunar months such as Muharram, Safar, Rabi al-Awwal, etc. were already in existence, but there was no official system of the Islamic year. Therefore, to describe any incident, it was said that a certain number of days after such and such major event, this incident occurred. al-Fil means the year of the elephant. This was the year when the king of Yemen, Abraha, attacked the Kaaba with an army of elephants, but Allah Almighty destroyed them through a flock of ababil, birds. According to scholars, 45 days after this event, the Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, was born. Here it is important to understand how the Islamic calendar, Taqweem, began. During the caliphate of Hazrat Umar Farooq, may Allah be pleased with him, he invited all the companions, Sahaba, to gather in Masjid al-Nabawi on the 30th of 17 Hijri, which was a Thursday. He gave a sermon on the importance of Islamic history. At that time, different types of calendars were prevalent in the world, such as the lunar calendar, based on the moon, the solar calendar, which is also called the English calendar, the Persian calendar, which was known among the Jews. A discussion took place about from which event the Islamic year should begin. Some said, from the birth of the Prophet, peace be upon him. Hazrat Umar, R.A., said, that resembles the Christians. Some said, from the start of prophethood, Hazrat Umar, R.A., said, that was a time of oppression and hardship. Some said, from the death of the Prophet, Hazrat Umar, R.A., said, that was a great sorrow for the Ummah. Finally, Hazrat Umar, R.A., suggested that the Islamic calendar should begin with the Hijra, migration, of the Prophet, peace be upon him, because that was when Islam gained strength. Then it was to be decided from which month the Islamic year should start. Some said Ramadan, others said Rabi al-Awwal, but the Prophet had the intention to start from Muharram, so it was decided that the Islamic year would begin from Muharram. Thus, the Islamic year was named Hijri year. The name of the Holy Prophet's father was Hazrat Abdullah, and his mother was Hazrat Amina bint Wahb. Even before his blessed birth, his father had passed away. When the Prophet, peace be upon him, was 6 years old, his blessed mother also passed away. After that, until the age of 8, the Prophet, peace be upon him, was raised by his grandfather, Hazrat Abdul Muttalib. At the age of 8, his grandfather also passed away. Then, the Prophet, peace be upon him, came under the care of his uncle, Hazrat Abu Talib. Strange and miraculous events on the night of birth. The fire that had been burning for 1,000 years, of the fire worshippers of Persia, extinguished. The palace of Kisra, king of Persia, shook and collapsed. 14 domes fell to the ground. Lake Sawa dried up. The hair on the faces of all the idols in the world fell off. The thrones of all the kings trembled. All the magicians and astrologers fell silent. A light appeared from the sky that spread from Makkah to the neighborhoods of Sham, Syria. So many stars began to fall that people became anxious. One astrologer said, if the known stars are falling, it is the day of judgment. If unknown stars are falling, then some great event has occurred. Then the voices of the angels glorifying Allah, Tasbih, were heard from the sky. Satan tried to ascend to the sky to find out what was happening, but he was pushed back from the first heaven. Then he tried to enter the Haram, Kaaba, but Hazrat Gabriel, alayhi salam, stopped him and said, tonight is the birth of the final prophet Muhammad, and that is why you have been stopped. Satan asked, will I be able to mislead this child? Hazrat Jibril, A.S., replied, you will have no control over this light, Nur, and over those who believe in him, you will also have no control, until love of the world enters their hearts. Hazrat Amina, R.A., says, I did not feel any pain or trouble during pregnancy. When the time of birth arrived, Suddenly light spread in the room, the roof disappeared, and I observed the skies. A white bird came, and with the light of its wings, it removed Hazrat Amina's pain. The room was filled with light, and the Holy Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, was born. Sayyida Amina, R.A., narrates, "At that moment, some women came to me carrying crystal glasses and vessels. They greeted me and said, 'We are the Houris of paradise, and by Allah's command, we have come to you. This is a drink from paradise. Please drink it.' I drank the heavenly beverage, and instantly I lost all awareness of the world. When I regained consciousness, I saw my child lying beside me, in a position of prostration. His right hand was on the ground, his left hand raised toward the heavens, and his blessed face was turned toward the Qibla. As soon as he lifted his head from prostration, a radiant light shone from his forehead. My sister Fatima and I saw, by the brightness of that light, the red palaces of Yemen on one side, the regions of Basra and Syria on the other, and even the cities of Persia appeared before our eyes." Sayyida Amina, or R.A., continues, "The birth occurred without me even realizing the moment he arrived in the world. Soon after, I began hearing voices in my ears, repeatedly saying, 'Assalamu alayka ya Muhammad, Assalamu alayka ya Ahmad.' I asked the Houris, 'Who are these beings sending salutations?' They replied, 'These are groups of angels who have come to greet him.' Then one of the Houris said, 'We are now handing this trust over to Gabriel, peace be upon him, and returning.' One of the Houris took the newborn and placed him in the arms of a youth. I was informed that this was Jibril, A.S., accompanied by Mikail, A.S., both of whom were carrying pitchers filled with water from paradise. They began pouring this water over the baby and said, 'O Amina, this child does not need to be cleansed, for he is already pure and immaculate. We are only washing him to increase his radiance and light.' Sayyida Amina, R.A., says, 'I saw that the child was already circumcised, his umbilical cord was cut, and he was completely clean and pure.' As Jibril and Mikail completed the washing, suddenly a white cloud descended from the sky and enveloped the child. Then I heard a voice in my ear. 'Take him and show him to the mountains, forests, and lands of the earth. Tell all creation that this is your master and leader. You must obey him.' A moment later, the cloud lifted, and I saw my child lying in a white cradle. I don't know where this cradle came from. In one of his hands were 3 keys. A voice called out, 'One key is for victory and conquest. The second is for worldly benefit. Whoever follows him shall gain, and whoever turns away shall suffer loss. The third is the key of prophethood. Prophethood shall end with him. No prophet will come after him.' Then a second cloud descended and again concealed the child. A voice whispered in my ear, 'Take him and show him to all birds, animals, righteous and noble humans of the world, and proclaim, "This is your leader and master. You must follow him." Soon that cloud lifted as well, and I saw my child lying peacefully in the cradle. At that moment, 3 men were standing near him. One was holding a crystal decanter. Another had a square tray made of pearls. The third carried a white silk cloth. I noticed that in the child's other hand was also a white cloth. One hand held 3 keys, the other a white cloth. A voice declared, 'Now the world is in his command. He may grant or withhold from whomever he pleases.' The 3 men stepped forward and placed the tray of pearls before him and said, 'Take whatever you wish from it.' The child reached into the center of the tray. An unusual act for an infant, especially since the edges of the tray were adorned with pearls while the center was plain. A voice then proclaimed, 'He has chosen the Kaaba from the entire world.' The child was then seated in the tray, and one of the men bathed him again with the water of paradise." Sayyida Amina, R.A., continues, "Then I saw the third man open the white cloth and take out a ring. He pressed the ring between the child's shoulders, and when he lifted it, the seal of prophethood had been imprinted there. A voice then announced, 'This is Ridwan, the keeper of paradise, who came to give the prophet a ceremonial washing.'" Sayyida Amina, IRA, says, "As all these miracles were happening in my room, strange and wondrous events were occurring throughout Makkah. It was early morning, and the disbelievers were resting in their homes. At that moment, Allah sent down 4 banners from paradise. The first was planted in the neighborhood of Quraysh, the second at the entrance of the Kaaba, the third at the house of Abdullah, R.A., the fourth at Bait al-Maqdis, Jerusalem. A decanter and an ornamental tassel were also brought from paradise and hung at the door of the Kaaba. Along with this, a red ruby-inscribed proclamation was sent to Abdul Muttalib from paradise. This was the night of Makkah's celestial celebration. The city was being adorned. In the morning, when the people of Makkah awoke, they were astonished to see strange phenomena in the sky. Where did this tassel come from, hanging at the Kaaba's door? Who placed this beautiful banner overnight? When the residents saw the banner and the decoration at Abdul Muttalib's house, many of Makkah's chieftains were filled with jealousy. Why is Abdul Muttalib receiving all these divine signs and honors? As dawn broke and the Prophet's birth had taken place, Makkah was glowing with divine light. Abdul Muttalib waited eagerly at home for any message from his daughter-in-law, Sayyida Amina, R.A. Meanwhile, outside Makkah, a Jewish scholar was restlessly pacing in front of the Kaaba, asking everyone, "Has any child been born tonight in your homes?" People thought he was mad. He replied, "My knowledge tells me that a child has been born in Makkah tonight, with whom the prophethood of Bani Israel will come to an end." He was anxious because he knew that this marked the end of Israelite prophethood and the beginning of their decline. Finally, he reached Abdul Muttalib and asked, "Has a child been born in your house?" Abdul Muttalib brought the baby Muhammad in the cradle and showed him to the scholar. The Jewish scholar looked at the child and instantly exclaimed, "This is the very child whose arrival marks the end of Israelite prophethood. He will become the ruler of the entire world."